students developmentally. I'm not naive to how adolescents engage with each other. But I know that there needs to be intentional, proactive, and persistent attention to their social development. When I read the HIB reports, I hope that the compliance investigation is not the end of how the school responds to the issue. Hearing the reports of student behavior on the 8-day trip made me feel even stronger about prioritizing school culture. Subsequently, I learned of one student at Warren Middle School who has been relentlessly bullied and on at least one occasion called the N-word. The child's parent called me to share their perspective. I listened and left the conversation with my thoughts confirmed. We need to be relentless in our approach to ensuring that the culture at Warren Middle School is emotionally safe. We will address this, I know, in our strategic planning process, but wanted to surface it for you now. And here are some questions and ideas I want to explore. How might we respond to HIB reports and comments disparaging a child's perceived abilities, race, ethnicity, or perceived or actual sexual or gender orientation in a way that demonstrates how intolerable, socially unacceptable, and hurtful those comments are? Like the physical health risk posed by smoking cigarettes, persistent verbal assaults and bullying have potentially tragic mental health risks. How can we be proactive about ensuring that everyone in the building is paying attention to diversity and inclusion? I still remember how I felt listening to Johannes Welderding talk to this board about his experience with bullying at the middle school. One statement particularly resonated. He said, quote, "As a student who has autism, it is severely disappointing that the staff who overhear this language don't really do anything about it. I spend my work days teaching and coaching teachers, so I know that sometimes teachers overlook or ignore what they hear because often they don't know how to respond. Like I tell the teachers I educate, I understand the reticence, but to not respond is unacceptable. One option is the establishment of a district-wide diversity and inclusion committee similar to what exists at the high school, made up of administrators, teachers, parents, and 8th graders, whose mission is to identify gaps in our district's inclusion practices and make recommendations for how we might improve. I sat on the high school committee as a parent volunteer and was at the same time saddened by the responses we received from students to a survey we administered, and grateful that my daughter was at a school where there was a group of stakeholders committed to action. Finally, how might we make cultural valuing and the valuing of difference more broadly part of the DNA of our district and school culture? Recall, I was disappointed that there was no acknowledgement of Black History Month district-wide this year. When I brought it to the superintendent's attention, I appreciate that the response was immediate, and librarians in all schools put up Black History Month book displays, similar to what we see in our public libraries. I don't want that to happen again, so very specifically, how can we be more thoughtful and proactive about acknowledging the major cultural holidays celebrated in our community? It could be as simple as teachers taking a survey of families every year, asking what major cultural holidays they celebrate, marking it on a calendar in the classroom, and inviting a parent to come in and share with the kids for 15 minutes. I am pleased that we are grounding our planning in the whole child approach because I believe strongly in the power of school to impact how we engage with each other and value the differences that we all bring. As a next step, you can expect me to continue to focus on this issue and to propose other ideas in the coming months. I'll be happy to work with any of my board colleagues on ways to be more intentional about ensuring that the culture of Warren Middle School remains inclusive and compassionate towards others. I believe that this is a very powerful way we can help our children build their social competency and prepare them for the world outside of Warren Township.